why they couldn't hear me on YouTube. But here's what we're going to do. We got that going on. I'm going to share this. I'm just going to make sure that it is working. That's why they couldn't hear me on YouTube. But here's what we're going to do. We got that going on. Yeah, very loud. Share this. I'm just going to make. Okay, so now I'm going to go drop this in. We're going to do trust community. So what I do is if people who want to actually be on the live, I share this. I have a Zoom link on, and then if you're in the trust community, I'm going to also share this in school. Oh, that was the wrong one. I shared the wrong link. That was supposed to be for Facebook. But let's see. Live now. On YouTube. Link and comments. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Hey, good morning. Good morning. And now I'm going to post the link. And now I'm going to give the Zoom link over to the trust guys. I know I'm saying everything I'm doing so that way I don't lose track, all right, of what I'm doing here. I want to stay focused because sometimes it's just kind of hard. Let's see. Okay. Post. All right. So we're on. I'm going to shut off the waiting room. All right. Yoda, stay focused. Focus, one must. All right. So, good morning. Good Saturday morning. I'm starting a little early today because I ended up getting a little bit of extra time to do this. So we're here. We're starting now. And I hope that you guys are ready for today. I mean, I don't know what we're doing yet. Let me check everybody out over here on YouTube. And hi, everyone on YouTube. All right, let's see. Just watch a Facebook post on the trust and vehicle. Can you explain a little bit? Nope, I can't explain that because it's a private process. So this is the thing. Okay, I want to bring this up. I'm glad he brought that up because there's a difference. Everyone's heard you can't mix public and private. You can't mix it because the second you put something like that out into the public, they'll modify what they'll accept. Because once people see that works and stuff like that, they don't like that. So what they do is they try to hide it. Look, their whole thing is deception. The whole thing is built off of deception, right? And when you expose something that they've been doing, they kind of scramble around and do things. So that's why some people see the results and then when it's put out into the public, like a public forum like YouTube or TikTok or even large Telegram groups, okay, what happens is those processes get canceled, okay? Canceled in the sense of like they won't honor those processes. So it's a shame that it has to be like that because remember, you're dealing with deception, okay? They're public entities. They're supposed to be public, but the way they operate is they treat you as public and everything they do is private. Everything we're doing is confidential. They have NDAs, like non-disclosure agreements. They have all this stuff. They keep everything quiet that they're doing, but it's 100% wrong. The only thing that should be confidential, right, with the government is any kind of investigation work that they're doing on serious actual crimes, okay, because if you tell everybody all the details of a crime, you'll never find out who actually committed the crime. They have to find out by the one who committed the crime is going to give details that only the perpetrator would know, right? So that's why those things should be confidential. Military coordinates should be confidential because if the military is planning to do something to protect the United States or the people or something, you can't give that out to the enemy. So there's stuff like that needs to be confidential. But what they're doing, like what your city is doing, they keep it all quiet. They can't do that. That's illegal. They're public. I mean, it's open to everybody. And you see, like, this is why I know a lot of people don't like the First Amendment auditors, but they are providing a valuable function in society because they're making people become aware of their rights. Okay, despite how they're doing it, if they're doing it right or wrong, some guys are just total jackasses and some guys are really good at it. But the thing is that they're exposing all these public places, right? These public players, public actors, acting as if they're in a private capacity when they're absolutely not. Okay. Hey, what's up? Okay, good. The sound is good. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see. So, is it hard to prove intent in a crime when you have them noticed? Well, I mean, it depends on the situation. So they're going to use whatever facts that they can get in order to prove intent. But if they can't prove intent, then they don't have they can't prove corpus delicti in full. So they can't get you off of intent. But if let's say it was a murder charge, right? And then they go, they can't prove that you intended to kill that other guy or woman or whatever. They can still get you on manslaughter, which is way less severe than murder. Murder is like, that's life, 30 years, 70 years. It's a long time. Manslaughter is like 5 years, okay, which sucks either way, especially if you really didn't mean to do it, if it was like a true accident. But you do got to pay the price because you took someone's life, right? Let's be real, okay? But that would be the difference between the ability to prove intent and the ability to not prove intent. All right, so any other questions? What we got going on? Let's see. No one's got anything. It was traffic infraction using the DOT number. So, all right, so now that's another thing. So willful intent, okay? Willful intent means that you intended to break a law. But if you're using a DOT number, right, and you're like, hey, here's the code that says this, here's the state's adoption of that code right here, they can't prove willful intent now because you're looking at their regulations and saying, look what I did, I followed the rules. Now they could say, well, all right, well, he didn't intend to break the law. He intended to utilize the law to his benefit, which is what you're supposed to be doing. But they don't like that. They don't like it. In their minds, using the law to your benefit is only supposed to be for them, not for you. So that's why they don't like that stuff. All right, scammers are everywhere. You're on my real channel right now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my real channels, delete anything that's not me. I'm live on TikTok right now. So if you want to know what my real TikTok is, I'm live on it right now. Any other TikTok accounts that are not live, that are pretending to be me, is not me. So go report them, delete them, block them, do whatever you need to do. But get rid of those. My only Telegram account is, I'm going to pull up the Telegram account so everyone can see. I actually have two. I know it's a little confusing, but I'm going to show you the Telegram account right here. So this is the Telegram account. It's called The Freedom Fighters. It's got 4,484 members as of right now. Okay. It has Rose as an admin who blocks, they shut people. I didn't do this. There was someone else did that. When the admin got frustrated because he was having a conversation with someone and then someone kept just impeding their conversation with all kinds of random posts because people like to flood the stuff. So that's what happened. All right, now, as you can see, look, someone just joined. That's why this just popped up. See? See? So if you found it, you found it, and that's it. So someone just joined. That's why that popped up. Good morning. Good morning. I know a guy who spent a year in jail because he kept saying, where's your delegation of authority? Well, yeah, I mean, that's just a stupid argument, you have to do it. You gotta frame the question better. See, the problem is framing. People don't understand framing. There is no Telegram channel with my name, by the way, just so everyone knows. If you're following me on Telegram under my name as a channel or a group, that's not me. That's a scammer. Report it and delete it and get out of there and block the freaking jerk off who's running that thing. Okay, no prosecute. Yeah, they decide not to prosecute later. So someone tried to join. But yeah, all right. So that's the first thing. So let's see. But please don't join any of those Telegram groups that have my name on it as a group. It's not me. Okay. If you think one man is going to solve all the problems of the country, you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. Yeah, I understand that. It's horrible. They do that stupid shit. But look, next time what you just got to do is, bring in the Bill of Rights of the state constitution in and go, it says right here that your authority comes from me as one of the people, right? But also, there's better ways to frame that. What you really need to be doing, right, in your court cases is utilizing the court rules, okay? The court rules have common law in there. There's common law in the court rules. This is the thing that I think people are kind of not tracking with, is they go, I'm not going to follow their stuff. I'm not going to use their stuff. Fine. Don't use their stuff, right? But when you get into a situation with them, if you follow the court rules and you prove that the prosecution is not following the court rules, you're going to have a better chance of success. Okay, and the reason is because you can do abatements, right? And abatement shows that the process wasn't done correctly. Okay, and if you go, hey, look, the prosecutor didn't do this. There was no verified complaint, right? I didn't see these things. They skipped these steps, right? And goes, okay, so yeah, then we'll have to dismiss that because he didn't do it properly. And you win on a technicality. Who cares how you won? You won, right? If you're looking at 6 months in jail over some stupid traffic infraction because they put that on the freaking codes. So up to 6 months in jail. What? Give me a break. Jail time over this stuff. This is how crazy these people are. So, but the thing is this, right? So, if you use the court rules and prove that they're not following proper procedure, you can get it dismissed off of that. Who cares? Who cares how you win, right? What's the procedure for beating radar? It says LIDAR, speeding ticket, but he probably means radar. Law is education. Law is not to educate people. Law is to confine the difference between right and wrong in a society. Okay, it's not for the purpose of education. Education gives people the power to stand on their rights in law. Okay, there's a difference. So let's keep that in mind. Law is not to educate. Yeah, LIDAR is a new type. They got me on the LIDAR, But he's asking me this question. I'm gonna highlight what's the procedure for beating radar speeding ticket. Now, the procedures are the court procedures for your state. That's the procedures. But if it's a radar that did it, you have to subpoena the witness, right? The witness has to come in and give his testimony. Well, it's not just the cop. The cop is only secondhand witness to it, right? He's secondhand. Who has firsthand knowledge of the speeding? The radar gun. So you subpoena the radar gun to come in and testify, right? People laugh at it, but you got to go, yeah, come on. Oh, laser. Oh, he's saying laser. Same thing. Yeah, don't stop speeding. But yeah, okay, laser. Not radar, laser. Which, okay, I guess it's just a difference between using motion with waves and then using light, and the shortening and lengthening of light and how fast it's going. I guess that's how they're doing it. Yeah, they have to be calibrated. So the cop has to bring in the stupid. If you start making all these subpoenas to have witnesses come in and stuff like that, they might just want to. They go, we're not dealing with this shit. Just drop the case, and just a null proseque is what they call it, and then they decide not to prosecute it because it's just going to cost them too much money, right? And it's going to be too much. It's going to be too much. They have to get the cop to come in over a stupid speeding ticket to be like, forget it, So you just put bunch of stuff in, make them do verified complaints, and then they're going to have a hard time. That's what I would do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, put the radar on the stand. Or ask the cop, how does the radar gun work? How's the laser gun work? He doesn't know, right? So how does he know that it's actually measuring speed properly, right? Or if the cop says he eyed it and he got it by eye, then you just do this. How fast did my hand just go? Do that. I'm not kidding. Go do that. But like, oh, you can measure speed with your eye? Yeah. How fast did that go? How fast was that? Well, I mean, that's just your hand. Okay. You said you can track speed by eye. How fast was it? All right. How fast is this? I don't know. Your Honor, I'd like to remove this witness testimony as incompetent. You might say, yeah. You're making him look like a fool. Right? All right. Well, I don't know why you text. Don't if you're actually on the Zoom, don't text, just talk. Right? The whole reason why you're here is to actually talk. I have all these other things to read. If you're on the Zoom, just open up your mic and start speaking.
Okay, I was just about to start typing stuff.
Yeah,
So I was gonna say, ask them when was the last time they calibrated the radar gun.
yeah, they usually have to put an affidavit in saying the last time they calibrated it for those court cases. Um, so they usually have that covered. If they lie, if you can prove that they lied, which is really hard, then you're gonna have another problem. But they use a tuning fork that checks the radar gun. Yeah, but well, it doesn't matter how they do it. They can lie and say they did when they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can ask them, how do you do it? But they should know the procedure. If they don't know, you got them on that. Well, I can't explain the procedure. Well, I guess he doesn't really know then, if he was properly calibrated. I'm not trying to pick on you in the chat. I'm just saying, like, you can talk freely in here. There's no ban on opening your mic. Okay. I don't know Lane Myers, but did he see? That's the thing, is that each situation is going to be a little different. Okay, if he didn't frame his argument correctly, like you could do everything right and still lose. Okay, I'm not saying you're going to win every single time. Okay, um, but if you follow the court rules, you have a better chance of winning than when going in there and be like, you don't have jurisdiction, and you guys are just you guys are de facto government agency who's just using regulatory powers in a fraudulent system. You're gonna be like, we don't care, and they're gonna throw you in jail. So you can, but if you go in there with proper paperwork, motions to dismiss, or a motion to at least retract or to remove certain evidence, okay, you can cut evidence down till they don't have enough to actually prosecute you. Okay, if you can get witness testimony removed, okay, you can win these court cases. But you could do everything right and still lose. This just happened with a friend of mine. We went through this whole court case fighting this creditor, did everything right, and the judge denied everything, didn't want to even deal with this guy. And even during the court case, the judge took off. Like, as soon as he brought up a good point, the judge was like, I'm out, boop, gone. He didn't want to deal with it. He's like, no, that's it, bye, gone, right? Because the judge is afraid. The judge was afraid that this guy, who's not a bar card, was about to beat a freaking a group of attorneys on a whole debtor creditor situation, and he was like, I can't let this happen. I'm going to make these guys who's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars of schooling get beat by some guy who's studying off the internet. I can't let that happen. I go, well, you know what? Look, there's guys who look at Fulton. Right, Thomas Fulton, the guy who created the steamboat, right? He didn't go to school for that. He built that shit when he was a kid, not the steamboat, but he built that whole system, the boat system, right? He built that as a kid. He didn't go to school for that. And this is the thing they don't want people to know, is that there are people out there, just regular old folks out there, who are intelligent enough to figure this stuff out without having to go to some specialized school for any of this shit. Okay? Yeah, they don't want to let it happen. Right, so that's why most of my cases, I showed this in the school community. Yeah, they can do traffic violations. Yeah, they're allowed to do that, but it's we're in a wishy-washy territory with all the car stuff. Okay. But I showed it in school, like a bunch of the court cases I went through over the last like 20 something years, and how many of them got dismissed, how many of them held charge, and then what happened to them. So you can like, if you went on to school and you could see, I think it was the second meeting, I just showed everybody. I was like, here's all these court cases, and here's how everything worked, okay, and what happened. um
In the initial court case, isn't the idea, regardless, that yeah, people are going to freak out and do the whole thing? We're really just making a record for appeal anyway, no?
right, yeah, that's the other thing, is that you're looking at everything you can put out there in order to create a record for an appeal, in the hopes that it'll get dismissed before you have to take it to appeal. But yes, you're absolutely right. You want to build the record out and preserve that record. Now, the courts do shady shit. Like, they'll send all the paperwork back and go, "Oh, you didn't file this properly," and so now it doesn't go on the record. Give me a break. You're the one that files it. I send it to you. You file it. You say, we can't file these." They do that to screw with people and destroy the record.
I mean, even more so just if you're actually in court, really making sure that you can put things onto the record verbally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family court is trash. I don't see why family court would be in federal court, though. When you got married, you got a state marriage certificate, not a federal one. So that's why they're doing that in the state. Now I lost where we're at. Okay, they permitted. John, you're still on this thing about are the police permitted? The police can do whatever the fuck they want. You gotta just come to peace with that. The cops are gonna do whatever the hell they want, whether or not they have permission. And 90% of the time, they're gonna be protected by the state over what they do. Okay, more like 98% of the time. All right, so it doesn't matter if they're actually permitted or not. All right, the local courts will protect their cops. Okay, because those are the guys that are helping them make money for the city. So just come to peace with it, right? The whole thing what I'm trying to teach people is how to stand on your rights and put yourself into a position where the state goes, leave this one alone, put a flag on his information, so that way we don't have to deal with him anymore. He's annoying. Okay, but he's not dangerous. Like, he's only dangerous to us, but he's not dangerous to the people. And once they see that, like, okay, he's not a danger to the people, he's only a danger to us and exposing us, they'll leave you alone. All right. So, and there's certain steps that we take to do that and put ourselves in that kind of scenario. Okay. Yeah, people don't realize I'm in the middle. Yeah, they lie like crazy, man. They will do anything to destroy someone's life over a few dollars. Okay. Like, this is the government, especially the local governments, they have turned into money-hungry life destroyers. Okay, they will destroy your life over a couple bucks. It's just not what was intended by the founding fathers at all. Do you think that the cornerstone of all confusion of newbies is the fact that everything is contractual? No. I think the cornerstone of all confusion comes from the lack of proper definitions of words. Okay? If you don't have proper definitions of words, you do not understand the context of what you're reading. Okay? And I know, I can tell you firsthand, I know people watch the Rumble videos, and I love it. I appreciate it. And people watch the videos here on YouTube and on TikTok. But I know for a fact that I'll make a video, and halfway through, I'm like, there's words in here that people don't know. And they're going to have to take responsibility and look those words up. This is the cornerstone of learning, is knowing the language. Like I teach music. So the first thing I do is I give all the students a music glossary of all the key terms that they need to know right away. All right. I wrote it myself. I showed them this whole thing, and then we go over those terms because those are the most commonly used terms. Okay. And we go over that. And then anytime we start branching onto a different subject, we take those terms, and then we just redefine. We introduce new terms, and they're all defined based off the terms they already know. I do the same thing here, like what I'm teaching you guys. Like everything. If you go to my Rumble channel, I have a whole list of just words defined. Okay, I did the same thing in school, right? Where I have a whole course on just definitions of words. Okay, and it's just so that people have a foundation in order to work off of when they do other stuff, right? Without knowing the words, there is no communication, right? If I started speaking traditional Chinese here, how many of you people will be able to continue listening to me? Right? Because you don't know what the words mean. So we wouldn't be communicating anymore.
What's your experience with asking for definitions in a court case? Is there a responsibility anywhere that you've found written that they have to define things?
The Sixth Amendment.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
So-
the nature and cause and all that.
Right. Yeah. But now the way this worked in the past is a judge says something and go, Your Honor, I just need to clarify. What's that mean? And he's like, I can't give legal advice. So I'm not asking for legal advice. I just want to know what you use this term, and I'll say the term. And what is your definition of that term? I just want to know how you're using it. And he'll just, you should probably get a lawyer. I'm like, are you denying me the right to know the nature of the conversation? No. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So please, can you give me a definition? Look, I'm going to just advise you, we're going to do it in German for today. I just advise that you go get a lawyer and get yourself protected. Oh, well, you need a lawyer to be protected. Oh, my hero. So that's what he did one of the times. That's usually what I got from the judges when I asked them to clarify the definitions of these terms they were using, and they usually said, I can't give legal advice, get a lawyer. I pushed one, and finally he just said, he gave me an answer. I said, oh, okay. And then he's like, if you do that again, though, I'm going to hold you in contempt. So that's your only warning. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I did that in a court case once, and it was hilarious. He pulled out a huge legal book from the back, opened it, and pointed to a statute, and then I asked if he could define how that applied to me and in this case, and then he kind of freaked out.
Right. Yeah, because they don't like being challenged. All right. They really don't. So if you want to be a rebel, okay, educate yourself. I see people go on the internet going, oh, AI, I've been using my AI is the best, and this AI and that. Guys, if you're sitting in a jail cell, let's say you're walking down the street one night, right? Let's say somebody's robbing houses, and you have some similar getup to the guy who's robbing houses. The cops grab you, pick you up, arrest you, and throw you in a jail cell. You're sitting in a jail cell. You didn't do any of the robbing, right? You just happen to look like the perpetrator, but the perpetrator decided to retire for the night, right? And after you got picked up, just coincidentally, so now all of a sudden stops. The cops say, we must have got him because no one else's house is being robbed, right? So you're sitting in this jail cell. You got no AI, right? You got nobody. What are you going to do? How are you going to get yourself out of this situation, right? You need to understand this stuff here. You need to know this, like, here in your heart. Like, you need to be like, yes, I have rights, and you need to know what they are. So that way you can protect yourself against stuff like that. The cops put you in a jail cell, and then they start questioning you. All right, tell us what you do. I don't answer questions. Well, you're going to sit in that jail cell until you answer questions. All right, well, I need to speak to legal counsel before I can answer any questions. Now they can't question you anymore. Okay, the second you say, I need to speak to legal counsel, if they continue questioning you, it's a violation of your rights. Okay, so one of the first things, last time I got stopped by the cops, first thing I said to the cop, he goes, I need your driver's license. And I don't have one. So I was like, officer, I'll give you everything you want as soon as I have legal counsel. He goes, nope, then you're under arrest. I'm like, for real? Like, yep, you're under arrest. I'm like, not even a warning? Nope. Pull me out of the car and arrest me. I mean, this stop was like 30 seconds. I was already in handcuffs. I said, I'll give you everything you want as long as I have legal counsel present. They arrested me. That's the craziest thing. Oh, man.
Just
I
like
had my phone recorded the whole incident. It's all on my phone. I just never shared it, but because the first couple minutes, there's no sound, right? But all that got dropped, by the way. So, because that was the 13 years I was looking at. So obviously, I'm not in jail.
I think AI is going to be the downfall for a lot of people. I mean, it is good in some aspects, but if you're not taking the initiative to get books and read them, and or even like online, they have those PDFs that you can download to your computer and read up on anything that you want to know. And AI will be the downfall for a lot of people on their court cases.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll admit to everyone, I use AI, and I'm going to show you what I use AI for. Look at all these beautiful pictures here. Look at this. I got this from AI. I'm like, this is nice. Look at these, right? Look how nice these pictures are.
So pretty.
They really are. Because what was it? Someone said, "Oh, you could just make AI do it," and I was like, "Really?" They're like, "Yeah, AI will make pictures for you." And I was like, "No shit." I was like, "All right, maybe I'll go get AI for that." And sure enough, they'll just spit the stuff out for you. I'm like, "Whoa!" You can see it even got better. Like it was making these pictures,
Mhm.
right? And then it started making pictures like that. And I was like, "Whoa,
Like
that's
the more
nice."
realistic ones, it looks. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So cool.
I was like, "Damn, man, this is awesome." But I'm not going to go around and try to get AI because here's the thing. Oh, I should have done this. I didn't do this. If we could get AI, if you ask AI, I might have to turn TikTok off so I can show everybody. The AI will tell you it will not recognize private practices. It is a public tool for public purposes. So it can recognize public processes, but it will not recognize private. Go ahead, ask your AI that and watch what it says. It's going to say that unless someone, when do you go to court? Do you stand past the bar? I don't do any of that stupid stuff, man. See, that's stupid stuff that gets you all in trouble. Just walk through the damn bar. Like this is why you have to have the assumed name. Okay. See, like that's the stuff. I saw a guy who does that, and then they dismiss his case, but he's really, really good at conditional acceptances. That's the thing with this particular guy. He just stands up right in the middle of the courtroom. He doesn't walk. He doesn't cross the bar. He just stands up there, and he goes, "Your Honor, I'm here on behalf of that name." And he goes, "Who are you?" And go, "Well, I conditionally accept being that person." You know, and they're like, no, you need to come up to the stand. It's like, well, I conditionally accept that under this. Blah, blah, blah. He just conditionally accepts everything, and then they just tell him to get the fuck out of the courtroom, right? After about 5 minutes. But that guy, he's a pro. He's been doing this stuff longer than me, I think, like since the early 90s, I think. He's a pro at that stuff. That's his whole angle. That's what he uses. But yeah, don't do that stupid crap where, you know, like I read about that, I think in 99 or 2000. That's not gonna fly. All right. It's not gonna fly. Um, you know, unless you know how to conditionally accept really, really good. All right. What's 1010? 1010? If a child doesn't have a social security number, is there any good reason to get one when they reach the age to work and drive? No. I mean, if they want one, but let them make that decision. But give them a fully informed decision on that, all right? Don't just like make them get one. Let them make a decision when they're 18 if they want to get a social security number or not. Maybe they don't believe in their ability to create wealth for themselves. So they're like, well, maybe I should have social security so I have something to fall back on when I retire, right? But that, you know, the thing is just teach them about it and make them make a fully informed decision. No one, you never got the opportunity. I didn't get the opportunity. No one on here got the opportunity to make a fully informed decision about that social security number. So give them that at least, okay, and let them make that decision. If they want to be considered a federal employee, that's on them. But they'll make that decision as an adult. You know, that's how I see it anyway. Maritime courts, I don't know. So all the military courts have fringe flags on them. Okay, in fact, I can show you this. It's in the Army regulations. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up and show everyone right now. Army regulation Come on. I got so many documents in here, I can't find anything. It's like crazy. It should be there. Army regulation, I forget the number. It's like 240 or something like that. 240-15 or something like that. Nah. I got it, but I don't know where it is. I think I did it on Rumble, actually. Let me see. Maybe it's in here.
888-687.
Thank you. Now everyone has your phone number. I don't think he realizes that he's not on mute. I don't know. I can't find it right now. It's so annoying. All right. I can't find it, but it's in the Army regulations that anything that has the fringe flag around it is considered the military courts, right? Military courts, not just martial law or not just maritime, but just any, because Army's the land, right? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube. You could go over there. Well, that's because family law, there's no such thing as family law. That's fabricated. Okay? That's some fabricated bullshit. Okay? They just do whatever the fuck they want in those courts. It's not law at all. Family law is like,
a scam. It's a scam.
yeah, it's a scam. You know? I do show people how to bypass that, but I don't like getting involved in that myself because I don't know if I'm helping the good guy or the bad guy, because sometimes there's just bad parents and I don't want to put a child into a bad situation. I don't want to be partly responsible for that. So that's why I don't talk about family law, right? Family law is like what you and your spouse agree on for the family. That's family law. But because you have the marriage certificate or the marriage license, you have a third party in your marriage, which is the state. Okay? And that's polygamy. Right? I mean, unless you're into that stuff, it's just wrong. So
You should never have a third party dictate what you can and can't have and what you should and shouldn't do.
right.
Like, you're all grown adults, figure it out amongst yourselves. You should never have to go to court for that.
Yeah, exactly. It says, should you trademark your name? You could. I personally think that trademarking the name is a good idea. Okay? Because now you have control over that name and it bypasses the use of anyone else without no one else can use that name without your express consent and authority. Like, you have to give them authority and consent to use that name. And if they want to make a profit off of it, well, they're going to have to pay you to profit off of that name because it's your trademark. If you got kids involved and stuff like that, it doesn't matter. They're gonna Army rate 80 40 8 40 10. Maybe that's that one. I forgot the number. Let's try that. 8 40 10. Let's see if that comes up. Oh, he nailed it, dude. You got it. That was it. Oh man, that was it. Good job, dude. That was awesome. He nailed it right in the YouTube comments. So we're gonna pull it up and I'm gonna show you guys right now. I love it. He gave me the numbers, and that's how we found it. Was from the number. Army Regulation 840-10. It's about flags getting. It's unclassified, so it's okay. All right. If anyone thinks I'm doing something wrong here, no. But here we're gonna scroll down. Let's scroll down a little bit. All right. Flag of the United States. Okay. The flag of the United States will be displayed outdoors at all Army installations. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about sizes and occasions for display. National flags listed below. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, for those days. Storm flag. Position and manner of display. Long. So, military flag. Okay. Order president flags. There we go. It's going to be around here somewhere. All right. Indoor display. Positional colors are authorized in 2 sizes for indoor displaying. Right? Outdoor display. All position colors for indoor display are rayon banner cloth or heavyweight nylon trimmed. Okay. With rayon fringe 2.5 inches wide. Okay. So they're talking about the colors. Right? I probably missed it. Now it's in the indoor display. Indoor display. Unservable zone. Outside. Okay. Okay, it's right here. Okay, but here's what it says. Muslim 18-inch hoist. Okay. This size flag with the Army, field flag, distinguishing flags, organizational colors, institutional flag. It will be displayed within the offices listed below. In C, where no other positional or organizational flags are authorized. Okay. This is our, look right here. It says national flags listed below are for indoor display and for use in ceremonies and parades. For these purposes, the flag of the United States will be of rayon banner cloth or heavyweight nylon trimmed on 3 sides with golden yellow fringe 2.5 inches wide. It will be the same size or larger than other flags displayed or carried at the same time. So what are the flags listed below? Okay, it's for what purposes? Office, headquarters, organizations, organization of battalions size or larger, military offices, military courtroom. Okay, so when you go into court and if they have that flag as described in there, it is a military courtroom. Doesn't mean it's maritime though. I want people to understand the difference. Military courtroom does not necessarily mean maritime. Maritime is what the law that they borrowed in order to create the traffic laws. Okay? Military courtroom means you're under military occupation because of the Civil War. We've been under military occupation since 1863. Okay? It's never, I'm going to do a thing on this on school. I'm going to show everybody how we actually get out of that system because there's a way to get out of that. That's actually one of the ways to break out of this whole thing is utilizing that concept. Okay, it's exactly what I did. Okay, and that's what worked for me. It's worked for a couple other people. But I'm going to make a whole course on that inside of school so everyone can, whoever joins, can actually see how that works. Okay, but that's that thing. Okay, so, but it's telling you you're in a military courtroom. Now, if you go into a courtroom and they don't have that description of flag in there, then you're not in a military courtroom. The odds of that being is very, very slim because you're either in a court of chancery, which has no flags, right? Or you're in some kind of common law court where they would swap out the flags. And I've seen them do that, like not with any of my cases, but I've seen them do that with other people where they would remove the courts out of, or the flags out of the courtroom or put other ones in that didn't have it. So I'm like, they have that stuff there. They do these conversions. All right. So it is something. They kidnapped the kid and hold him as a ward. Oh. All right. I can't go along with that stuff. All right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, free woman. Am free woman. I agree. Yeah. Thou shalt not kill. I know you could get very angry at some of these things, but all right, so that's it. ROTC units, stuff like that. All right, so cool. What we got here? Maritime is commerce. Yeah, well, that's why the traffic courts are considered to be in commerce because that's why they use that for that purpose, right? Yeah, I have the peace flag. I mean, I don't have it hanging anymore because of the fact that I don't have the same setup I used to have. But I used to have the flag hanging over here on the side. I think people know that, but I don't because I just don't have a place to hang it here anymore. But I have that one, and then I have this one here, which is nicely folded up. Okay, because I haven't figured out how to hang this one up somewhere in here, so it's not hanging up in here. That's the only reason why. But yeah, Stars and Stripe. Yeah, I know it's a war, but we're in war. We're always in war, right? We're under military occupation. Let's see, U.S. Army regulation. Yeah, okay, he got it. You could paint a guitar with that flag and hang it in the background. There we go. We could do that. All right, so where else are we going here? Yeah, I mean, I get what. Yeah, I've heard of that guy. People keep sending me his videos, and I listened to some of it, and he's talking about the same stuff Gene Keating talks about, right? It's the same stuff, right? But he's the only other guy other than me I've ever heard talk about the SSA 89 form. And he brought it up, and I was like, oh, look, someone else knows about that form. Wow, look at that. Because I was the only one. I found that form a long time ago, and I was like, oh, this form is key. And I told a couple of people, and then everyone kind of brushed it off like it was no big deal, right? But yeah, I mean, he's just talking about like the GSA bonds and stuff like that, and there's certain things you can do. I would say it. I can't really say it on, not TikTok. I could even get banned for that one on TikTok. What else? All right. So, where else are we going with this today? Jurisdictional implications. I mean, you could buy property without Federal Reserve notes, right? If you use a check, that's not Federal Reserve notes. ACH is not Federal Reserve notes. It's not. Those are not even legal tender. You could use silver, right? If you get somebody and you want to just give, if you got someone who has property for sale and you could convince someone selling it in silver. But again, the thing is, I talked about this on a TikTok. Like some guys, like the reason why you don't own your car is because you bought it using debt instruments. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like I know that's a thing that's been flying around and stuff like that. The thing about using like silver to buy something rather than debt instruments is they can't tax it. They don't have like a way to tax the silver. Right, so they'll try to manipulate it in a way where they go, "Well, that's this amount of Federal Reserve notes." Well, this contract has nothing to do with that. It was conveyed it was a swap out of things. There's no taxability on this, and if you know how to stand on that argument, you'll beat the state on that. But that's the whole thing about not using Federal Reserve notes, because then if you trade something, like if I have a car, right? I got a car. And I want to trade this car for someone else's car, we just swap out, right? That's it. Now, the beauty is if we both got the cars under trust, all we got to do is give each other the title and the keys. That's it. The state's got nothing to do with that transaction. It's a beautiful, simple little thing. Would you say a coupe in 1930? Would I say that? I mean, I covered it many times. So, yeah. I mean, that happened. But there's more to it than that. That's like the straw that broke the camel's back. But they were building up on that before that. I didn't see your question, man. You're going to have to retype it, I guess. I thought if you have, dude, you see, you're asking, all right. See, now you're asking a question like, how do I magically get property without giving any exchange? It's just not how the world works, right? The people, that's the thing is like, you have to exchange something for something, right? You want something, you have to give something to get it. It's just like if someone has something that you want, right? You have to find something comparable to what they have that they would like, right? That's just barter. SSA 89 form, yeah, you can use that. That's a great form to use. Okay, that revokes your their use of the Social Security number. Okay. Oh, okay. So if you give them a promissory note, they can go get it medallion stamped and then have it deposited into a brokerage account. Okay, that's how you cash in the promissory note, right? You go down with them to the bank, get a medallion stamped. They deposit into a brokerage account. They're gonna get the cash of that promissory note. Okay, or that's how they would cash it in. So it's not very complicated. It's just dealing with a bank that's going to let it fly through, right? You're going to have to set all that stuff up before you do the promissory note part. Set up the brokerage account. Make sure you have a bank that can do medallion stamps. Then you have to go down there. Everyone has to sign everything in front of the one who's going to do the medallion stamp because they're going to act as the notary on the promissory note. Okay. I mean, just call the banks and ask. Bank of America does it. I forget what other banks, but I know Bank of America does. PNC Bank does. Just call around and ask. Time out of trust. If you have your house in a trust, do you have to pay property taxes? Yes. I got into a fucking 3-month debate with some guy who was trying to assert the fact that once you put your house into a trust, you don't have to pay property taxes. I said, that's just baloney, dude. You don't go around telling people that because they're going to go do that and then they're going to have their house taken from by the county for not paying property taxes. I said, so that's not true. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. And he kept asserting it was true. And then he started bad-mouthing me in the group. And I'm like, in the Telegram group. And I'm like, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you have success doing it yourself? And he wouldn't even answer that question. I'm like, dude, what? This is the crazy thing that people just assert these things without any proof or any evidence that like anyone here who has a trust can tell you right now that you put your house into a trust, the county's going to send a tax bill in the trust name, right? That's what they're going to do. So it doesn't evade taxes. I shouldn't say evade. It doesn't avoid property taxes. What it does is it switches the liability over from you to the trust and the trustee. So now if you put your home into something like a nonprofit, then yeah, you can get an exemption. Okay, the state constitution provides a bunch of exemptions, and then the state statutes show you how to go about achieving that exemption. So utilize the state exemptions that are there. All 50 states have the same exemptions. Some have extra exemptions. But if you don't want to pay property tax, you don't have to. You just set that stuff up. I might actually create a course on that in school. If you guys are interested in that. I don't know. Just let me know. If you're interested, I'll make a course for that too. All right. So that way we can handle the property taxes.
Yes, Joe, do it.
Okay, well that's one.
That and how to trademark your name.
Okay, yeah. I have been going back and forth on the trademarking of the name because of the different conflicting ways I heard about it being done, and the thing is that some people like put it, oh, all right. So I got a couple people saying do the course. All right, I will do that. I will make that course then. It'll be in here. So I'm going to drop the link for that here. So if you guys join, you can go and do that course once it's done. But what I'm going to do is pick like 2 states, show you that they're similar. Then we'll go through the exemption in one of those states or something like that. And I'll show you how to go through that whole process to get the tax exemption. Okay.
Michigan, one of them.
We can put it to a vote. How about that? We'll do a vote. But yeah, we could do that. Maybe I'll do Michigan. Let's see. How do you feel about learning from Brandon Joe Williams? I've known Brandon for almost 20 years. I love how people don't even know. Like,
he's funny as hell.
oh my God, he's not acting, dude. This is just how the way he is in the videos. That's him. That's fine whenever you can. I'm not, you know, Michigan is horrible. Okay. But I've known Brandon for like 20, almost 20 years. I met him back in 2010. Yeah, 2010. So about 16 years I've known him. And, you know, it's, we used to do some wild shit back in the day, okay? Wild stuff. Oh, man. We'll have to do another video one day and we'll talk about all the crazy shit that we did together back in the day when we were like, you know, young in our 20s and stuff, you know, doing stupid shit, you know, just having fun being single guys in our 20s. But just through a common, we had a mutual friend. And all right, I'll tell you honestly how I met Brandon. A friend of mine came up to me and said, "Hey, my friend just moved here. They don't have a place to stay for the night. Can you let them stay in your house?" I said, "Yeah, I mean, how long does he need?" And he said, "Well, I don't know, until he finds a place to move into." And I said, sure, yeah. So then she came back with him and said, "Hey, this is my friend Brandon." And we said, "Oh, yeah, okay." He's like, "Well, dude," he was so appreciative. He was like, "Dude, thank you so much, man. You don't even know how desperate I am right now." I said, "Hey, look, we've all been in that situation. You need a place to crash. I got you, okay? So, you know, it's happened to me. It's happening to you. I'm just going to give it back, you know, to whoever." And so I took him back to my house, and on the way home, we started talking about, find out we're both musicians. We like the same kind of music. We're like, holy shit, we're like in the same age. You know, like we got all this shit in common. We're like, oh my God, man, you know, we're into all the same kind of stuff. And we're like the same fucking, you know, comedy, the same music. We're both musicians. We both play multiple instruments, right? And we're like, no shit, look at that. And so, yeah, we just ended up becoming really good friends, you know? And, you know, we still talk. I was just talking to him like 2 days ago on the phone, you know? But we haven't, you know, haven't done a video in a long time, so maybe something soon. We'll see. We did not meet through YouTube. This was in person in New York City back in 2010. All right, that's where we met. All right, so where are we going from there? We got a good amount of people here on Zoom today. You guys anyone have anything that they want to share? Oh, he can't use the mic. Okay. You see how far? This is why I'm like, if you're on Zoom, don't text because I won't see it. But I get it now. He can't unmute. All right. Nice crotch, Sean.
God damn it.
I couldn't help it. I don't think anyone on YouTube saw that. So, oh no, everyone did. Sorry, it's on YouTube. But anyway, all right. What else is going on here, people? We got some participants here on Zoom. You guys can open your mic and say stuff. Unless you're really that shy. How to postpone court case. I mean, you could just call them and say something came up, you need to postpone it. Say, hey, can we just do a continuance for another time or something? And they'll push it out a little bit for you. No, I'm not live in the trust community. I shared the link in the trust community, so if you find the link in the community chat, you can click it and then you can join on the Zoom. It's not in Telegram because the scammers come in and they put up all kinds of nasty stuff on here when they join. So I don't share it in Telegram anymore. All right. They would come in here, say nasty stuff, do horrible things. All they're trying to do is get my YouTube account shut down. So I don't share it in Telegram. Right. Can you go over the refusal for cause for traffic tickets, please? Yeah. That's really easy. All right. So, I'm going to do it again. All right. But I have a PDF that explains how to do it. But it's real simple. So you get a traffic ticket. Okay. Now you have to do this in a timely manner. You can't sit around and wait. If you sit around and wait too long, No good. No bueno. You've accepted the contract. Okay. So what you do is you go get an envelope, right? Like one of those mail envelopes. You put your traffic ticket in there, and then you're going to write from bottom left to top right. Okay. Refusal for cause without dishonor. Okay. And I'm going to show you why you're going to do that. Okay. So we're going to go to, here, let me type it in here. Where is this? We're going to go, here, UCC. Here, we'll go here. Good to see you. And now we're going to go to Article 3, negotiable instruments. The first thing, before I get into the process, I want people to understand what a traffic ticket is. Okay? And look at what it is. It is payable to bearer to order at the time it is issued or first comes into the possession of a holder. Right? It is payable on demand or at a definite time. Look at the ticket. It says on the ticket, you can pay this amount before this date. That's a definite time. Pay by this date. That's okay. It does not state any other undertaking or instruction by the person promising or ordering the payment to do any act in addition to the payment of money, but the promise or order may contain an undertaking to give or power to give, maintain, or protect collateral to secure payment. Please appear in court to secure payment. All right. An authorization or power to the holder to confess judgment or realize on or dispose of collateral. We can arrest you. That's how we dispose of collateral. Or a waiver of the benefit of any law intended for the advantage or protection of an obligor. So you waive the benefits. Okay? So that's how they do this. Show up in court or pay the ticket. But you're going to show up to court so that way we can, you're going to give power to give, maintain, and protect collateral to secure payment. So what did you do? You gave over your person, right, as collateral to secure payment. That's the undertaking that they do. They do that by appear in court. If you don't show up, you've confessed judgment. Now we can put a warrant out for you, and you waive your benefits of law. Okay? So the traffic ticket is a negotiable instrument. An order, right? It's an order. It's not a promise to pay. It's an order. That meets all the requirements of subsection A, right? Falls within the definition of a check, is a negotiable instrument and a check. Okay? It's a draft if it is an order. So it is a draft. If an instrument falls within the definition of both, the person entitled to enforce may treat it as either. All right? So that's the first thing. Now, we can see now that this thing is a negotiable instrument. Okay? Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to UCC 3 section, and we're going to go down to 5, right? Because when the cop gives it to you, he's doing a presentment. Presentment means a demand made by or on behalf of a person entitled to enforce an instrument. To pay the instrument made to the drawee or party obligated to pay the instrument. Okay? So presentment may be made at the place of payment of the instrument. All right, and if we look at the instrument again, I'm going to show you what else, all the different things about what it has in there, right? Payable, payable. Oh yeah, we already went over that. Sorry. Presentment may be made at place of payment. Notice that the traffic ticket has an address on it. Even if when you get pulled over, it still gives an address on there. You're like, why the hell did they do that? Because there's a place of payment. It must be made at the place of payment if the instrument is payable at a bank in the United States. That's a court. Courts are banks. May be made by any commercially reasonable means, including an oral, written, or electronic communication. Oral? You can orally pay? Right? Words are money. I gotta do the puzzle piece over here. Okay. There you go. So that's a great one. That's a good remedy right there. All right. We should talk about that one day. All right. So now, without dishonoring the instrument, this is key. The party to whom presentment is made may return the instrument for a lack of a necessary endorsement. If the cop didn't sign the ticket, it's not endorsed. You don't have to pay it. You send it back, say no signature, refusal for cause without dishonor, right? Or that's the first option. The second one is refuse payment or acceptance for failure of the presentment to comply with the terms of the instrument, or an agreement of the parties or other applicable law or rule. Now, this is the one that I find works the best. Okay, so we're going to look for the applicable law or rule, and I found it here in sales, Article 2. Okay, if we go to Article 2 and we go down to 207, additional terms and acceptance or confirmation. So this is about accepting a contract, okay? Which the ticket is a negotiable instrument. Negotiable instruments are contracts, okay? Now the additional terms are to be construed as proposals for addition to the contract. Between merchants, such terms become part of the contract unless... So additional terms are part of the contract unless, and there's 3 reasons why they wouldn't be. The offer expressly limits acceptance to the terms of the offer. They materially alter it, or notification of objection to them has already been given or is given within a reasonable time after notice of them is received. Okay. Now that right there tells you that's how we utilize these 2 codes in order to refuse the traffic ticket. It's without dishonor. It's a refusal for cause without dishonor. Okay, you don't want to do it with, you don't want to be in dishonor, so you do it without dishonor. Now, I have the PDF. I'll go pull it up real quick. Let me see. Should be here. Holy jeez. So much stuff. Oh, you know what? It'll be easier to find it here. What's this in the files? Maybe it's in the files. Let me check here. Let me check here. Checking around because I made this document and I can't find it.
The new classes are awesome, Joe. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Which class you talking about?
2.5.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
I don't have the questions done, but I got through all the videos. So I'm going to go back and watch them again and do the questions.
Yeah, you gotta definitely do the questions. Yeah, I'm looking for it on Telegram right now. It's shared in my Telegram group. It's shared everywhere. But that's all you do. You just write these 2 codes on there and you send it back registered mail. But you got to do it within a short amount of time. So you got like a couple days.
Oh,
And-
you're wanting the codes? I can just provide you with those codes.
No, I already put them up. I just
okay.
showed them on here. But here, the way this works is like you write refusal for cause without dishonor on the envelope. And then you write UCC 3-501, UCC 2-207, 2C. That's an objection. It's got to be consensual. You're not consenting. So they can't, the tickets are additional terms. Okay, remember, you have terms with the driver's license. Okay, you signed a contract. The tickets are additional terms. Okay, the registration is a contract. Even if you got rid of the license and all that stuff, they still consider you under the contract, right? Which is the statutes, whatever you signed with the original driver's license application, all that stuff. That's all part of the contract. These are additional terms in the contract because it's a negotiable instrument to modify the terms for you to use the roads, right? Which you have the right to use the roads freely, so they shouldn't be giving you any kind of contract, okay? Oh, Sav Buster's here, who can't say a fucking thing because he doesn't know jack shit about the law. He's going to over here just run his mouth without any knowledge at all because the guy's never opened up a fucking book and read any law book. He's never read a court case. All he does is go on YouTube surfing around for judges who just treat people like shit and upload it to his fucking pathetic ass channel with his bunch of bootlicking little fucking shits. And he's going to go... no, you don't see see this guy's a fucking joke because he's over here. Your argument doesn't work. I don't make those arguments in court, you dumbass. You aren't even paying attention. See, this is the thing. This guy is such an annoying little shit because he thinks I'm going in there going, I'm a man on the land and you don't have jurisdiction over me and you're operating my Sustake trust. I don't say any of that stuff. See, this is the thing. This guy's a freaking idiot. Because he just assumes, see, this is the thing. See, this is why he's psychotic, okay? He's psychotic because he thinks I and everyone else are the same thing. Right? He equates everyone to being the same. So that's psychosis right there, right? When you can't tell the difference between things, you're psychotic. So he thinks that I'm going into court doing that. No, I'm putting paperwork together. I'm using the court rules. And then he over here thinks that I'm doing all this other stupid ass shit that I don't do. I've never done that in a courtroom. I've always been sensible. I ask good questions, and I make the prosecutor prove his point. If he can't prove his case, then there is no case, and that's what I make them do. And this guy over here, it doesn't matter. You still have the right to travel, okay? You have the right to travel. Just because the courts don't protect people's or uphold people's rights doesn't mean you don't have them. See, this is the stupid shit. He over here thinks that the fucking courts are like, they're perfect entities that will always do everything correct and that they can't be tyrannical. And this is the delusion that he's in. He's in a delusion. All right. The man is in a delusion. Drive is a freaking commercial thing. All right. The definition of driver is one who operates a motor vehicle for compensation. That's driving. That's what a driver is. So, right to travel means to get from one place to another. The mode of transportation doesn't fucking matter. All right. So here's the thing though. This guy, if you came on right now, come onto my YouTube, say you're going to join, I'll send you the Zoom link. All right. I'll send you the Zoom link and we can have a whole debate about it right now. Live on YouTube, motherfucker. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. What you got?
Period. Tell him, Joe.
Come on. Let's go. Let's go. No. Share your email with me. I'll email you the Zoom link and we could do this right now on YouTube with everybody. But here's the rule. Here's the two rules. You got to show your face and you got to tell us your name. Otherwise, you're a pussy and you can't do it. All right? And I don't deal with chicken shits. Okay? You're a scared little bitch if you don't do that. Tell us your name and show us your face. You have to be on camera, face on camera. Then you can't, you're a bootlicker. You're a scaredy cat. Oh, I can't do that. Everyone sees my face. Everyone knows my voice. And everyone knows my name. I'm not scared of any of that shit. You're the one who's a chicken. And what are you doing? You're saying the courts are right. And you're scared? You're scared? He's the chicken. And he's scared, but he's saying that the courts are right. He's going to side with the courts because he's a little bootlicking piece of shit, right? So he's the guy, he's a scaredy cat, right? Yeah, like, he's a scaredy cat. Why would you be afraid to show your name and your face, right? Why would you be afraid to do that, right? If you over here side with the courts. I side with the cops and the courts. What are you afraid of then? What are you actually afraid of? You see, this is the thing. He's a chicken. Guys, watch this guy. He's going to go and this is all he does. This is his entire platform as he goes onto YouTube, right? He goes and looks for sovereign citizen fails in court videos. He takes little snippets of those videos and then uploads it to TikTok and goes, see, they don't recognize your arguments. Of course they don't recognize your arguments. Those people aren't following the court rules. And then those same people who don't follow the court rules come in here and tell me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I win all these court cases and they don't. So what's the problem, right? You have proved nothing. You've proved nothing. You haven't even given a fact, okay? You're just stating opinions. And I'm calling you out on the fact that you're scared, you're a coward, and you won't show your face and tell us your name, right? I'm doing all that stuff. I'm out here saying that the courts are bad, the courts are corrupt, they do horrible things to people. The government, the local governments, the police, they can ruin people's lives on mere whims, okay? And that we need to stand up against that. And you are one of those British subjects that says, just do what the king says, do what the king says. And we're over here saying, nope, nope, nope. We're going to declare our freedom, our independence from this bullshit. And we're going to go out there and we're going to fight these guys until we have our independence and we're free from this tyranny. But that's what you are. That's what you are. You're the British subject who sat there crying every day. Oh, just let the king do what he does. Just keep giving him his taxes. You know,
Just
keep doing
comply.
yeah, just comply, right? So that's the thing. But this guy couldn't hold a candle to this argument. You come on and show the real information. Show the real information. He can't do it. You want me to do it? I'll show you guys right now. I have a whole bunch of shit I can show all you people right now.
This is
Okay?
why everybody needs to go join your school, Joe. This is why.
So
you,
here's
don't,
what.
you don't bullshit. You don't beat around the bush. I love it.
No. But I'm calling him out for being a fucking chicken shit. He's a chicken shit.
I love it.
Where are you? No. See, Subset Buster. You see what you know what you are? You are a fucking slave. You are a slave. You are a weak individual who has no cojones. Okay? And that's why you're where you're at. You can't show your name, you can't show your face, and you hide behind little fucking clips of YouTube videos of tyrannical judges. That's you, man. And I'm going to show everybody right now. I got a whole fucking slew of this shit. And I'm going to show you people right now. All right. So this is a whole folder I have on the right to travel. Okay. And I'm going to go through all this stuff. I have an exhibit list here. There's other stuff in here. Let's start with the Hendrick versus Maryland case. Because that's the case that people love to oh, they're restricting me on TikTok. Right. Okay, they restricted me on TikTok because TikTok is very sensitive. They don't like free speech. The First Amendment only applies to TikTok, but it doesn't apply to the people on their platform, right? Even though they already got freaking federal protection against what anyone says on platforms because social media. But here it is. This is Hendrick versus Maryland. Okay, and this is first thing is we're going to look at some of these head notes in the absence of federal legislation. So. If there is no federal legislation, the state can prescribe uniform regulations necessary as to the operation on their highways of automobiles moving in what? What's it say? Interstate commerce. Oh, so that means that the state can make rules for interstate commerce on their highways unless there's federal legislation, which Title 49 seems to be legislative. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Is Title 49 not federal legislation? It fucking is. So the states had no choice but to adopt it. And it's because of laws like this. Well, not laws, court cases like this, where they said, no, interstate commerce is under federal protection. Federal government regulates interstate commerce. Now, you guys can still do intrastate commerce. That's why you have to register the car in the state. Okay? Where is he? The chicken leave? He left. Okay, so we're using, okay. See, he's going to keep saying this stuff. No court accepts your argument. How come I keep winning these court cases then? How come out of I think about 15 different times I had to go to court for driver's licenses, only one time did that charge ever hold up. One time. And when the judge gave me a year he sentenced me to 1 year of no license, I fucking laughed. And he goes, this isn't funny. And I'm like, you're suspending something I've never had. I never even had a license at that time. I was like 25, 26 years old. I was like, I've never even had a license. So, yes, I do. I do win these court cases, okay? There's no videos in these courts. But you have to understand, okay? I'm in New Jersey in the municipal courts. They do not record those things. You're not even allowed to bring you have to, when you go into those courtrooms, they tell you to turn your cameras off, turn the phones off, and everything has to be shut off because these are private courts. This is not a joke. This is fucking for real. Okay. So don't try to see, he's trying to pull this stupid shit. Show me the video. Yeah. There was no video back in 2003, 2004, 2005 for any of these court cases. All right. Especially municipal courts, they still don't let you record in the municipal courts today, which is still a violation of your right to a public trial, right? And he doesn't care about that. He doesn't even realize. I showed proof, all right? You don't want to hear it. You're just going to demand it. There's just no video. I can't show you a video that doesn't exist, all right? That's it. So look, automobile owner cannot complain of discrimination under this law for licensing automobiles because the fee is graduated according to the horsepower where the power of his car does not appear. Okay. All right. Now, so that's one. The whole purpose of that case was about interstate commerce and the regulation of it, right? Now let's look at American jurisprudence here. All right. Oh, this is don't worry about that. That's about constitutional provisions. We're going to go to 7A. Vehicles engaged in transportation for hire. The use of highways for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire by ordinary means is incidental to and consistent with the primary purpose of their establishment and is therefore a proper use in the absence of any restrictive regulation. Okay, such use is not, however, one which may be exercised as of a right, but of a special permissive use. Okay, that's because they're in for hire. You see, it's not a right to use the cars for hire, but a special or permissive use. Okay, that's vehicles engaged. Let's look at this one. So, motor vehicle registration is a traditional government function. Because the operation of a motor vehicle is a privilege, the legislator of each state, in the exercise of the police power, enact reasonable regulations requiring the licensing or registration of motor vehicles, including private motor carriers of property, public common carriers of persons or property. In some state constitutions, the imposition of licensing or registration fees under the police power will be upheld by the courts when plainly intended as police power regulation, so long as the revenue derived is not disproportionate to the cost of the issuing the license and the regulating the business to which it applies. Now, you see, he's going to say, he's probably going, this is all right. See, I'm right, until that last little fucking part of the sentence. It's all about business. Okay? It's about business. And he's going to sit here and tell you it's not. But he's not reading any of this stuff. He's just surfing YouTube for idiots going to the courtroom who don't want to follow court procedure. Like, just follow the damn court procedure. You're in court. Like, if you come to my house and I say take your shoes off when you come to my house, you're going to keep them on and walk around, you're going to piss me off. That's the same thing when you go to court. Right? You go to court, yes, it's a public place, but they have rules. Follow their fucking rules, and you can win your court case. It's not guaranteed you're going to win every time, but you could win if you follow the rules. You have a better chance of doing that instead of saying, oh, this is maritime court. Oh, I'm not part of maritime. Don't do that shit. That's the stupid crap, right? But he thinks that that's what I'm doing. So he doesn't know what I'm doing. He's just making an assumption because he thinks I'm the same thing as everything else because the guy's psychotic, right? All his mental computations are psychotic. Outwardly, he may project to be very sane and rational, but his mental computations are that of psychosis. Okay. Now let's go to this one here. Seating capacity vehicle, the amount of tax. Okay. No, we don't need that one. Not for this argument here. What's this? Okay. Cool. Here we go. All right. In the absence of an act of Congress covering the subject, the state may impose upon vehicles using its highways and interstate commerce non-discriminatory regulations for the purpose of ensuring the public safety and convenience and for the protection and conservation of the use of such highways. I mean, this is right out of a court case. What is this? Castle versus Consolidated Freightway Corps of Delaware. But what? What? I don't think you've ever read this, Sovsit Buster. You never read this stuff, have you? Because you don't actually read. You just go with whatever they say on YouTube. And he's the YouTube lawyer. That's what he is. Right? Generally speaking, highway regulations have been left to states and localities, and traffic laws they enact must be applied both to intra and interstate traffic. Even though a local regulation materially interferes with interstate commerce, great leeway is allowed local authorities where traffic control and the use of the highways are involved and where there is no conflicting federal regulation. See? It's all about the regulations. So look, it says, for example, state legislators have great... okay. For example, state legislators have great leeway in providing safety regulations for all vehicles, interstate as well as local, and such measures carry a strong presumption of validity when challenged in the courts. If a statute is neutral on its face, has only indirect or incidental effects on interstate commerce, and regulates even-handedly, the statute will be upheld unless the burden on such commerce is clearly excessive in relation to the punitive local benefits. Thus, a highway safety measure affecting interstate commerce will be, absent federal entry into the field, be upheld unless the whole record it can be concluded that the total effect of the state law furthers the purpose of safety so marginally and interferes with commerce so substantially it must be invalid. See, this whole thing is based around commerce, okay? The people who actually study this stuff always come across this and always make this determination. The people who do not study this stuff tell you that you're a loon and that you're a quack, okay? And that's because they haven't read this stuff. It's one of those things that the state is doing. It's called fiction of law doctrine. The fiction, Savsid Buster here is on this fiction of law doctrine where he thinks the presumptions are facts. But he doesn't realize that the presumption is just a presumption. Okay, so he's over here doing this whole thing and going around laughing at people. But the people like me and you guys who are watching here are actually studying this stuff and finding out that there's a whole truth that he has not seen. And he just doesn't want to see because he's too scared to see it. He's too scared to confront evil. Okay? He's too scared to confront evil. And it may even help with his own flawed, computations. All right? Which it probably does. It probably aids and helps and is like acts as a crutch to his own computations, mental computations. Okay, so municipalities retain considerable authority to regulate how motor vehicles engaged in interstate commerce shall be operated over their streets. Wow. And may require that such vehicles obey traffic and other general safety regulations. So look, who's applied to? Vehicles engaged in commerce. I mean, this is clear as day, right? This all comes from court cases, man. You're saying, I don't see the courts. Go to my YouTube channel. I'm pulling it all up. I pulled this right out of Westlaw. This is right out of Westlaw, right off of American jurisprudence. And all American jurisprudence are court cases. It's all court cases. See, Hambone, you're just full of shit. There doesn't have to be an injunction, right? I don't see the injunction against all the states for issuing permits for guns. Where's that? Where's the injunction for that? And the Supreme Court has already ruled that you don't need a permit to have a gun. They've already ruled on that one. So your injunction theory is full of shit. All right, Hambone. So you keep saying that, but there's no injunction on the states for issuing permits, but the Supreme Court has ruled over and over again that the states making people get permits to get guns is just wrong. You don't need one. Okay, let's look at this one. What's this one? This is taxing power of the state. License charges may be imposed for regulation or revenue or for both. A state may not impose a charge for the enjoyment of a right granted by the United States Constitution. In some situations, the legislator may direct that license fees be paid over to a private corporation for compensation for services in carrying out the laws or be paid for the compensation of persons suffering damage from the thing licensed. So Hambone, you just fucked up your own thing. You just fucked it up because your own argument you just destroyed. You destroyed your own argument with that statement. right? Because now you're like, oh, well, where's the injunction? The Supreme Court has already said that what'd they say? They said that in the Moore case, like a year and a half ago. They said that I'm not scared to let you talk. I invited you to come on. You don't want to talk. You don't want to show your face. You don't want to say your name. You can't talk because you don't know this information. You're gonna get destroyed. You don't know this information. You do not know what you're talking about. Okay, that's the problem. You can yammer on all you want on here. I'm not stopping you. I'm not preventing you from talking. Right? But the thing is, you got destroyed and now you're crying about it. You're getting wrecked right now and you're just crying. He's not letting me talk. You're on text. You can just text. What the fuck? See, this is the thing. See, this is called gaslighting, right? He's like, oh, he won't let me talk. Bro, you're on text. I'm not stopping you from texting. Don't play that stupid crybaby shit with me, all right? Play that stupid crybaby shit with me. That's just another piece of evidence that shows how weak you are. Okay, another. All right, what's this one? This is about, that's constitutional stuff. Let's go, what's this one? This is extortion. Never mind, that's different. I put all this stuff together for a court case. This is how we got some of the cases dropped, by submitting the stuff in with a motion to dismiss, failure to state a claim for which relief can be granted, and then bang, that's how we use some of these things, right? See, but this guy here, I'm not going to let him up on TikTok because I'm on YouTube. And that's just going to kind of mess up the flow of what we're doing here. I put everything up on here. I told him he could come on and join me on YouTube and we could have a debate, but he doesn't want to because he's scared. Right? No, because we're sick and tired of your stuff, man. You're lying to everybody. You know, that's the problem. I don't like people who lie to people. You're a liar. You're lying to people. You're telling people things that are just fundamentally not true. Right? It's just wrong. And you're a liar. Okay, that's it. It's just wrong. You're either, maybe he's not a liar. He's just deceived. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt saying he's not a liar. He's just insanely deceived because he sees all this stuff with judges telling people to shut up, judges telling people to be quiet, right? And he thinks that's okay. You have the right to be heard in a courtroom, right? The judge has a judicial model code of conduct where he has to afford, right, all parties the right to be heard, and he doesn't do that, right? He's showing all these things where the judge is like, shut up, don't talk, no more, no, this and that, right? Like the guy, like, this is the thing, this is it, he's being deceived himself, but he's too scared. See, there's people who can't confront evil. Right? That's what we're looking at here with this guy. All right. Anyway, let's see what else we got in here. We can find some other good ones. Oh, that's the extortion one. What's this? This is constitutional law. Avoidance of narrow, technical, absurd construction of constitutional provision.
Mary's comment in the chat. He's a CIA operative.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe he is.
He could be. Who knows? Here, I'll go through these exhibits here. All right. The exhibits are nice. So the first one is Washington Department of Licensing versus Cougar Den, right? It was a 2019 case. Decided with the right to travel on all public highways without being subject to any licensing or permitting fees related to the exercise of that right while engaged in the transportation of tribal goods. That's one of the exhibits. Okay. And we just sent that in. Due process considerations with respect to right to travel. The right to travel is a fundamental right and a part of liberty of which a person cannot be deprived without due process of law. Okay, and that is 16D. Here, let's pull that up. That's Exhibit A1. Let's go back to that. Let's read that A1 exhibit. This is a nice one. Tick, tock, tick. Okay, so we're going to read this whole thing, right? The right to travel is a part of liberty of which a person cannot be deprived without due process of law. The right to travel, by the way, this is from American jurisprudence, meaning that it came from court cases. It's Corpus Juris Secundum, Constitutional Law, Section 2125. Due process considerations. The right to travel is a fundamental right and a part of liberty of which a person cannot be deprived without due process of law, and is closely related to the right of free speech and association. It enjoys a unique and protected place in our national heritage. and is an important aspect of a citizen's liberty under the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment. Accordingly, restrictions on the right to travel cannot be dismissed by asserting that the right to travel can be fully exercised if the individual gives up membership in a given association. Okay? So, although the right to international travel is a liberty interest protected under the Fifth Amendment, it does not carry the same degree of protection as travel within the United States. Even though cancellation of purported citizen's United States passport implicates a specific liberty interest, namely the right to travel internationally, the government may, without violating due process, refuse to validate a citizen's passport for travel to a foreign country. This is so because United States passports are not property of the individuals to whom they are issued and do not implicate any property interests under due process clause. The fact that such refusal renders the flow of information concerning the foreign country less than wholly free, however, is a factor to be considered in determining whether the citizen has been denied due process of law. Okay. A statute providing for denial of passport to a parent who is substantially in arrears in child support does not deny procedural due process because of the important governmental interest in enforcing child support orders. That's the thing with, like, if you owe child support, you can't get a passport. Okay. Although a restriction on the right to travel is the means used to curtail the flow of hard currency to a particular foreign country, the right of the executive to curtail such a flow does not violate the freedom to travel protected by the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment. All right. So internally, they can't restrict it except by due process, Fifth Amendment due process. That's the only way they can restrict it within.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. So that's how that works. No. See, I'm not doing it on TikTok for the reason is I'm on YouTube. And YouTube is where I have everything set up. Okay? This is only here to get people to come over and go onto YouTube. All right? You don't want to do that? That's fine. All right? You don't want to tell people your name, show people your face so we know who you really are. Yeah, I know I'm on TikTok. This guy can't think. Look at this. This guy can't think. The whole presentation is happening on YouTube. Look at this shit. You can't see. Look at this, you dumbass. It's on YouTube. The presentation is on YouTube. Okay? TikTok is just open so that people can get over to YouTube. Right? But you, for some reason, have a really hard time thinking. Right? He has a hard time thinking. He can't comprehend. This is why he shares those shit videos.
You must work for the government.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, it was good enough for government work, what he does. Anyway. All right. So this is our due process clause. All right. Let's go back to our exhibits list. All right. This is important stuff. You know. What else we got here? Other recognized fundamental rights for the purpose of equal protection includes the right to vote, the right of interstate travel, rights guaranteed by the First Amendment. Right? Congress under Article 1, Section 3 can only regulate the occupation in interstate commerce and not travelers. What? Can someone share my YouTube channel on TikTok, please?
Say it again. Say it again, Joe. I don't think he heard you.
Okay, I'll say it again.
Say it again.
Other recognized fundamental rights for the purpose of, by the way, this is 16C Corpus Juris Secundum Constitutional Law, Section 1599. Right? Civil or personal rights. Other recognized fundamental rights for the purpose of equal protection analysis includes the right to vote, the right to interstate travel, rights guaranteed by the First Amendment. Congress, under Article 1, Section 3, can only regulate the occupation in interstate commerce and not travelers. Okay, that's in, that's I1. I1. Let's go to I1. I1. There it is. All right, here it is. I1. Okay. All right. Government actions affecting civil or personal rights must often pass a strict scrutiny test when challenged on equal protection grounds. An individual's right to personal liberty is a fundamental right for equal protection purposes. Other recognized fundamental rights for purposes of equal protection analysis includes the right to vote, the right of interstate travel, rights guaranteed by the First Amendment, and other rights explicitly or implicitly guaranteed by the Constitution, including the right of reproductive freedom, the right to privacy. When fundamental rights are affected, strict scrutiny analysis is used to evaluate an equal protection claim, and the government must demonstrate a greater public need for the restriction, considering the nature of the affected right and the extent to which the restriction intrudes upon it. Although the right to travel is considered a fundamental right, resident requirements do not warrant the application of strict scrutiny tests when the restrictions impinges the exercise of that right only to a limited extent. Only those statutory classifications that so burden the right to travel that they function in effect as penalties upon those migrating to a new state are subject to strict scrutiny. Thus, residency requirements affecting right to travel will be upheld against an equal protection challenge unless they penalize the ability to receive some basic necessity of life, such as welfare benefits or non-emergency medical care, or affect some other fundamental right, such as the right to vote. All right, so your right to travel, if it's being impeded in some way, shape, or form, and it's preventing the exercise of any other right, right? Like they say, benefits, non-emergency medical care, basic necessity of life, right? Then that right to travel, your right to travel can't be impeded in those situations. Now, not everyone in the United States lives right next to a grocery store, so you can't just walk down to the grocery store. Some people have to take a trip there. Maybe if you have a horse, you can ride your horse there, okay? But if you don't have a horse and you don't like the smell of horses, you can get a car, okay? And you can go there to get your basic necessities of life, all right? So among the restrictions or classifications that do not infringe upon a fundamental right for equal protection purposes are statute requiring mandatory DNA or HIV testing of persons charged with or convicted of certain crimes, restrictions on those rights to possess firearms, a motor vehicle helmet law, and statute authorizing medical examiners to remove corneal tissue from corpses for transplantation. All right, so that's a whole other thing. All right, but yeah, as you can see, what they're doing is they're utilizing the right to travel, right? But what they're doing is they're funneling it through the Commerce Clause in order to regulate it, okay? But states and federal government can only regulate, they can't regulate private affairs. They can only regulate commerce, all right? The only time they can regulate private affairs is when private affairs have started doing damage to other people. All right, when people are getting harmed by somebody's actions, they can come in and take over. All right, that's about it. All right. Oh, look at that! Look, people even offering you money to come on here and debate me on YouTube. Look at that. But you have to come with case law. You're gonna have to come with all kinds of stuff. Okay? You can't sit there and be like, I'm right and you're wrong. Because that's not a debate. That's not a debate. I'm not going to... No, again, it's going to go on YouTube. See, this is what I mean. See, this is like the chicken crap that I'm talking about. The whole presentation's on YouTube. All right? He wants to deflect so that way he goes on to TikTok. That's lame. That's lame. I'm not going to operate like that because if we do it on Zoom, right, because I'm using Zoom on YouTube, we can share screen, we can show everybody stuff, okay? And the chance of getting banned on YouTube is slim to none, where on TikTok it's a lot higher, okay? ROE, that's a revocation of election. So that's like just the revoking of your standing as a U.S. citizen or resident of the United States. And then you're putting yourself in the position of non-resident alien, right? That's about it. Yo, Mr. Difficult, you're everywhere, man. Good to see you, brother. All right, let's see. They hold. But I'm kind of done with him anyway. He's kind of boring now because he's just going to say the same stuff over and over again. He never provides anything of substance. Right? Same thing with Hambone. They never cite a code. They never cite a statute that says that your private stuff can be regulated by the state. Because they never say that. They can't say that because that's tyranny on paper. and it's a violation of your rights, okay, they can't do that. All right. See, this is a cop out. That's a cop out, dude. Because again, you people will harass me. What do you think about me? I started making videos. I was getting super harassed by the cops after I started putting out videos. Yeah, but that's all. See, that's regulatory stuff. See, he's sharing Michigan law. I'm like, I don't give a shit because that's regulatory. The whole concept of that statute is regulatory. It has nothing. It's all about commerce anyway. See, he throws out this thing. See, I win now, and I'm like, yeah, but the whole concept, the entire title of the Michigan laws or the Michigan statutes or codes, whatever the fuck they're called, right? That's all based around commerce. The whole thing, right? He calls me dangerous, but he's the one over here saying, lick the bottom of the boot. Lick the bottom of the boot. Right? I've been doing this for 27 years now. Yes. So someone's whispering over here, but that's all right. All right, anyway, but it's just getting boring now because he won't come on here. He won't come on to YouTube, and it's just sad because we could actually get some stuff done. I think it would be better, right? I think it'd be better if we actually did this. Or Hambone, why don't you come on? Show everybody, give everyone an education, right? Prove I'm wrong. These guys can't do that. All right. Hiccups? You got the hiccups. All right. Can you give us in that showing us the court is a bank and traffic ticket is a negotiable instrument? Well, I already showed that the ticket is a negotiable instrument, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over how the courts are banks. Okay, that's a real simple one. All right, we're just going to go here. Okay, and I will show you that the courts are banks. It's just defined as such. Okay, so we're going to go down to the definition of bank. Right, this is Blackwell's 4th edition. We're going to look up the definition of bank. Banker's night, bank. Bank, a bench or seat, the bench of justice, the bench or tribunal occupied by the judges, the seat of judgment, a court, the full bench or full court, the assembly of all the judges of a court. A sitting en banc is the meeting of all the judges of a court, usually for the purpose of hearing arguments on demurs, points reserved, motions for new trial, and other law points, as distinguished from the sitting of a single judge at the assizes or at aeneas prius and at trial at bar to determine facts. But in this sense, bank is perhaps the more usual form of the word, B-A-N-C instead of B-A-N-K, right? But it's the same thing. Okay? Bank le roi. The King's Bench. All right? So, the courts are a bank, right? I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to show you something else that's going to help back that up a little bit here. We're going to back it up. We're going to go to 28 U.S. Code. All right? 28 U.S. Code is the judiciary and judicial procedure. We're going to go down to procedure. And we're going to go to chapter 129, monies paid into court. Okay? And now let's just look at the titles here. So the first one is called Deposits of Money in Pending or Adjudicated Cases. Deposits? Oh, you can make a deposit into a case? Yes, that's right. Because the court is a bank. You could do a withdrawal, just like at the bank. Deposits of other money. Oh, okay. Payment of fine with bond money. Oh, you mean you can pay fines with the bond money? Yes, you can. Investment of court registry funds. You can do investments. So you can deposit, withdraw, make payments, and do investments in a court. That's why they're banks. I mean, look, if anyone wants to sit here and explain why it's not that way, I'm all ears, right? I'm all ears for that. But you're going to have to explain why this is wrong and why the legislative did this by accident. Oops. Can't really do that, but, because look, yeah, let's click on one of these. right? All monies paid into the court of the United States are received by the officers thereof, in any case pending or adjudicating in such court, shall be forthwith deposited with the Treasurer of the United States or a designated depository in the name of the credit. Now let's look at this. This comes from June 25, 1948, and we're going to go to 62 Stat 960, which means, if that's what we're looking at, all right, we're going to go here, and we're going to go right to the government link, and here it is. We got it right here as a public law. Money's paid into court. Positive law, people. This is positive law. So this has been passed by the Congress, and it is now positive law. So he's not going to talk about that anymore. He's just there to argue the right to travel, because it's such an easy argument to win, because the courts operate off fictional law and will not recognize the right to travel. That's why I tell people, don't make those arguments in court. You have to use the court rules. Okay, he has the evidence on his. If you go watch Sobsit Buster's TikTok channel, he has all the evidence of why you don't make those arguments. So go watch his channel. Go watch his channel and go find out why you don't make those arguments. He's teaching you exactly what I'm telling people, right? Don't make those arguments in court. That's why you'll lose. Okay, but do learn the court rules. If you want to stand on your right, learn the court rules. Okay, the founding fathers, when they put the Constitution together, they spent years writing that thing and perfecting it until they decided to have a go at it in 1787, right? The reason why they did that was because they wanted to make sure everything flowed good. They wanted that document to be as precise as they could make it. They wanted to ensure that they took every step and every measure to protect any kind of right and create a barrier for every branch of government, as well as make sure that each branch of government can fix each other up and discipline each other and correct each other, right? That's the checks and balances. That's why they put all that together. The thing is, though, that they were adamant about private stuff can't be regulated. Like, your private life can't be regulated. That's one of the barriers. Okay? Now, they started doing this with the motor vehicles. They used the whole thing about safety in the Constitution in order to start stretching out the use of the motor vehicles and cars and all that shit, right? But they can't regulate automobiles necessarily, but they can regulate motor vehicles. So they call them motor vehicles and start regulating those. Now, they have to define them. Now, what the state will do is they'll define it as any kind of automobile. But when you go read the registration, stuff like that, it says on the registration cards that that a motor vehicle is used for commercial purposes. Okay, like if I look at the here, I'll pull this up. The New Jersey vehicle registration application. We're going to pull this up in here, and this is. I'm getting this from the New Jersey website. All right, so everyone can see. I've clicked on it before, so you know I've seen this before. Okay, but this is the New Jersey application for vehicle registration. All right, this is in New Jersey. All right, New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. It's called MVC here. Okay, and when we look at this, applicant, name, owner, street, right? Okay, so this is all the things: eye color, full date of birth, plate number, right? VIN number, policy number. They want the insurance information, leasee if it's a lease. Question: will this vehicle be used as a rental? Will this use? Question number 2. Will this vehicle be used for commercial purposes, which is defined as a motor vehicle or combination of motor vehicles used or designed to transport persons or property? The codes will tell you all day long, or they'll leave that information out all day long in the codes. But when you go read these contracts that you're signing with the state, they have to tell you the truth. And this is it right here. Yes, and the other bank is they're synonyms. They're the same thing. Yeah, you're right. So that's it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just it. Now, I got heated with him for a minute there, you know. I was like, because the guy, he drives me nuts with his. But the thing is that he is showing you guys why to not use those arguments in court. All right, so utilize his channel for the purpose of learning why you shouldn't make those stupid ass arguments in court and learn the court rules. Okay, and you learn the court rules, you'll find that your rights are in there. Look, here, I'm going to show you NJ court rules. Okay, I read the court rules. Look, rules of the court. You see, you can see I clicked on it before. I read these things. It's important to know the rules. All right, like I'm going to scroll down to here because for the municipal courts, it's 7. So I'm going to scroll down to 7. And look what we have. All right, 7. The rules in Part 7 govern the practice and procedure in the municipal courts in all matters within their statutory jurisdiction. So they're telling you it's statutory jurisdiction, including disorderly and pettily disorderly conduct persons, unindictable violation of motor vehicle and traffic, fish, game, voting laws, right? Proceeding to collect penalties where jurisdiction is granted by statute. Violation of county municipal ordinances and other shit like that, whatever. All right, so the process, right? Issue of complaint warrant, summons, execution and service, return, defective warrant or summons, amendment. See, you got to learn. Here's the thing. The rules aren't like something that, people scoff at it. They go, I'm not, no, that's their stuff. Yeah, I know it's their stuff. But look at what it's saying. The contents. What if they don't follow this? The complaint shall be a written statement of the essential facts constituting the offense charge made on a form approved by the administrative directors of courts, except as otherwise provided in paragraphs F, traffic offenses, G, right, and then H, right? The complaining witness shall attest to the facts contained in the complaint by signing a certification or signing an oath before a judge or other person as authorized by that New Jersey statute. That's criminal statute right there. Okay, in New Jersey. All right, 2B is criminal. There's 3 sections of 2. There's 2A, 2B, and 2C, 2B. They're all 3 are criminal, right? Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry that you got to go, but yeah. All right. So if they don't follow that rule, then the complaint is defective. And if you can show that the complaint is defective, there is no case. Why are people so up in arms over me saying use the court rules? The first fucking rule was like, they have to do these things this way. And the people, that's their stuff. No shit, it's their stuff. I'm not making complaints. They are. Are they doing it the right way? Let's check. See. You see, and this is why like a lot of people like Savsit Buster brings out all these people who the people that he's showing in these videos are the people that argue with me online saying that I'm an idiot for following the court rules. And I'm like, yeah, but you're the idiot going into court going, you're the trustee of my Sesta K Trust. They don't even know what a fucking Sesta K Trust is. It's a beneficiary. It's not a secret trust. It's the stupid crap. Is Savsit Buster still here? Or did he leave? So if the complaining witness is law enforcement officer, the complaint may be signed by an electronic entry secured by a personal identification number. So that's how they get around it. They use the court rules here to do that. But all you have to do, if they say, well, it's electronically signed, all right, Your Honor, what statute gives the authority to do it? Well, it's under the court rules. I understand the court rules. Thank you so much. I know under Court Rule 7.2-1, the authority for the complaint is under New Jersey Revised Statutes Annotated 2B12-21. But where is the authority given for him to use an electronic signature outside of here? Because that's not legislative then. And now you just shut the whole fucking case down. All electronic signatures can be, in Jersey, you can do that with this, right? You can argue that point right there because where's the authority cited here? It's not. They said, well, we can make our own rules. Oh, can you show me in the New Jersey Constitution where you can make the rules? So, see, Savsit Buster's not going to take that argument, man. He's seen too much of it. But the thing is this, though. I would like to have a cordial debate with you on YouTube one day. Maybe we could do that. All right. I'll rethink the showing your face and name. You could go by Savsit Buster and not show your face, which is kind of weird. Debating somebody without showing your face. This is kind of weird, right? But guys, you see what I'm talking about? Like, this is when I say, like, people say, oh, the court rules is their stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, duh. I know it's their stuff, but this is how you beat them, man. This is the way to beat them. Make sure that if they don't follow all their own rules, you can have it dismissed because they're insufficient service of process. They're not doing the process right, right? They're not doing. Oh, they didn't do this, right? You can do an abatement, right? Abatements are really good for stuff like this, right? Complaint warrant, right? For initial charge, disorderly persons offenses, petty disorderly persons. These are all bullshit charges anyway. All right, disorderly person. Oh, he was angry, so we arrested him. All right, so maybe someone just kicked him in the nuts, and now he's pissed off about it. You're gonna arrest the guy who just got kicked in the balls? Come on, right? That happened to a friend of mine. He got hit in the nuts. He yelped. The cops came over, and he was like, "Don't fucking talk to me." He was in pain. The cops arrested him. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, "The guy just got hit in the nuts. Like, you're gonna arrest him?" They're like, "Well, he's being disrespectful." I'm like, "Yeah, he wants to be left alone for a minute. Give him a minute," because he yelled real loud, so the cops came running over. I was like, he got hit in the balls, and then the cop grabbed him, and he yelled at the cop. And he ain't got no reason to put his hands on him. Fucking asshole. Oh, yeah, because the fucking gear shift is lawful authority. What the fuck? This guy, he goes, the gear shift doesn't say T for travel. It says D for drive. Like the gear shift is lawful authority. Come on, dude. You got to be better than that. A judicial officer may make a complaint upon sworn oral testimony of a law enforcement applicant who is not physically present. Such sworn oral testimony may be communicated to the applicant by the applicant to the judicial officer by telephone, radio, or other means of electronic communication. Well, I was stretching it there with that one, you know what I mean? All right, but you guys see what I'm talking about? Traffic offenses, they have their own rules for traffic offenses. The shall prescribe uniform traffic ticket to serve as complaint, summons, or other process to be used for all parking and other traffic offenses. On the complaint summons for parking or other non-moving, the defendant need not be named. It shall be sufficient to set forth the license plate number of the vehicle, and its owner or operator shall be charged with the violation. All right. The complaint may be made and signed by any person, but the summons shall be law enforcement. So I actually got them on this because they gave me a traffic or a parking ticket once, and I said, who signed this thing? And they were like, it was this kid, but he wasn't authorized by law to issue a complaint summons. All right. So they had to drop the ticket. And then they went out and had a cop going around doing all the parking tickets after that for like 2 years.
Well, it's hyper-educated corporate should after the words business.
Hey, you made it.
In
all right.
Concerning things about.
Yeah. So, but the Michigan compiled law, like again, it's all done under commerce anyway. The presumption is that, you know, motor vehicle, technically motor would apply to only like Teslas and electric cars. But if I have a gas powered engine, I don't have a motor, so it's not a motor vehicle. Right? You know, that's another argument you can make there. Look, so proceedings before, look, they have pretrial release, bail, search warrant suppression. You can suppress warrants, arraignment, pleas, pretrial procedures. You see, this is the key thing. If you read this stuff and you study this, you can find out what you can do before the trial even starts. Okay? The pleadings, objections, right? Pleadings in municipal court actions are consist of only the complaint. A defense or objection capable of determination without trial of the general issue shall be raised before trial by motion to dismiss or for other appropriate relief, except that a motion to dismiss based upon lack of jurisdiction on the constitutionality of municipal ordinance may be made at any time. Right? See? You can test the unconstitutionality of a municipal ordinance at any time and lack of jurisdiction. But you have to do it under using the court rule to invoke it. And that's where people go wrong. This is where people go wrong on this stuff. They go, you know, you see the guy go in the court and he goes, "Oh, you don't have jurisdiction." And then the judge is like, "We have jurisdiction." And then, this is all unconstitutional. You have to do it. Look what it says. A defense or objection capable of determination without trial of the general issue shall be raised before trial. And this is why Substance Buster asked for proof. And this is they're telling you right here why the people who win court cases can't show proof. It's right here. This explains it. I'm going to show you why. A defense or objection capable of determination without trial at the general issue shall be raised before trial by motion to dismiss or for other appropriate relief, except that a motion to dismiss based upon lack of jurisdiction or the unconstitutionality of municipal ordinance may be made at any time. So if you make a motion to dismiss and it's granted before you go to court, there's no court case. That's it. It's just gone. And that's one of the things he doesn't understand. He keeps saying that's bullshit, but it's written right in their court procedures. Okay? That's the thing. It's right in their court procedures. Right? And now I'm not telling people to go throw their licenses away or revoke them, right? Or get rid of them. I don't tell people to do that. I'm just saying you have these rights and you can stand on those rights. You can stand on those rights with a driver's license and a registered car. It does not matter. Okay? This is why the assumed name is so important. The assumed name is one of the most powerful moves you can do in everything that we do is using that assumed name. Okay, that assumed name is so powerful. We've done so much with that. And if there's some certain people in the group right now, no, I don't think any of them are here right now, unfortunately. But there's some people who we've won these court cases using that assumed name and some other techniques with the assumed name, and it creates all kinds of interesting scenarios with them after the court case. Okay, so those are the pleadings. You could do an objection. You could do a motion to dismiss, right? Or a motion for appropriate relief, right? You could do a motion for lack of jurisdiction, unconstitutionality of a municipal ordinance, right? If you're being charged with that. So once you do all those things, they could dismiss the case. They could look at it and go, you know what? Maybe this guy's making a good point. Let's just get rid of it. We don't want the hassle, right? Like Hambone says that to me. He goes, they don't want to. 903. Good to see you, brother. Good to have you here. But yeah, but that's they'll so Hambone's right. Like they'll see this and go, we don't want to deal with this for a couple of reasons. One, they don't want the rest of the people in the courtroom to see you standing on your rights without an attorney and win in court. They don't like that. They don't like having the rest of the courtroom see you unshaken and having no fear of the judge, no fear of the prosecutor, and being able to stand there and go, I have a right and I'm going to assert my right and I'm doing everything this proper way because everyone, look, I pulled up the New Jersey court rules. You don't need to be a lawyer to read the court rules and follow the procedures. Okay? If you want to defend your rights and you want to stand on your rights, you can study this stuff and learn their rules, their procedures. You're not using these procedures at home. You're not using these procedures when you're in the car. You're using them when you're dealing with the court because this is how they communicate. You got to speak their language. All right. There's pretrial procedures, right? And this is the court may conduct hearings to resolve issues related to the admissibility of statements by defendant, pretrial identifications of defendant, and sound recordings at any time prior to trial. Upon a showing of good cause, hearings as to the admissibility of other evidence may also be conducted at any time prior to trial. See that? You have pretrial hearings. This is all municipal stuff. This is like traffic court. You can do all these things. This is powerful stuff, right? Oh, I'm so scared. Sovsit Buster's threatening to make a video about me or about something, right? I don't really give a shit. His videos, just show tyranny. Go ahead.
I like Fresh Out 23's comment about we have to draft the court order for dismissal before the judge to sign, right?
Yeah.
I just thought it was a good comment on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. We have to draft the court order dismissal. Yes, that's right. Yes, you have to do that. Absolutely. If you write the motion and then you draft the order, right? Proposed order for the judge to sign, you're giving them, like, you're building the whole bridge for them. Okay? All he has to do is go, okay, you know what? I'm just going to sign it. If you do your motion to dismiss, do a memorandum of law, judicial notice, and the proposed order to grant the dismissal, and you put your stuff together and it's real tight. You use the court rules. You use corpus delicti from your state corpus delicti, stuff like that. You might get a dismissal. Like that's the stuff that I'm doing. I'm not going into court and making these arguments that Sovsit Buster thinks that I'm doing. See, this is the problem: is he's just confusing me with like everybody else, like all these other guys. But you don't see me doing that stuff. There are no shortcuts, man. That's the thing. There's no shortcuts. If you want to stand on liberty and freedom, the thing to do is you gotta learn how they've constructed this whole thing, what they're doing. Okay. You have your motions in here, right? You can make motions, hearings, right? If you send in a motion, they'll do a hearing. You can move. It doesn't matter if my argument is the same. I'm not acting like those people. See, this is the disconnect that you have with me and these other people. You think I'm doing the same thing. I do not do any of those things. I put paperwork together. My paperwork speaks for me. Okay, and that's the thing, is that you have such a disconnect because you hear, oh, he's saying the same thing that guy said. So what? Maybe he's actually right about something. Maybe the guy who's acting like Looney Tunes in the courtroom might actually, maybe out of the 12 things that he said that was wrong, one of those things was right. And just because you have the right to travel, right? You have the right to travel. Everyone has the right to travel. You have the right to travel. We all have the right to travel. See, that's you just labeling somebody because they said right to travel. So I guess the Supreme Court must be a bunch of sovereign citizens because they said you have the right to travel. Okay? Maybe the fucking president from 1855 is a sovereign citizen because he said all citizens have the right to travel. Okay? In a fucking treaty, he said that. Right? So all these guys who actually put this out there, when, like, the judges, the justices, right? The president, those guys must be sovereign citizens too, because they're the ones that said that. Driving is a commercial thing. That's all commerce, dude. See, that's the disconnect. See, he's still disconnected from that. He won't do that, right? He won't do it. That's the problem. All right, it just won't. It doesn't connect to him. That's the problem. Once he finds that, he's got to go read like the driver's license contract, the driver's license stuff. Yeah, he's part of the scam. Exactly. You know, but if he were to actually wake up and actually read stuff and go read the actual laws, read the court cases, and go read a lot of the stuff, he'll start to come to the same conclusion that we all come to after a while. Like, no shit. The courts actually violate your rights, right? Because they know, like, look, if I come in and I start showing that I know the court rules, they can't bypass my rights because they go, well, he knows the court rules. Now he's creating a record for an appeal, and it becomes a real nasty thing again, right? They absolutely do accept that drive is commercial. It's so he's going to go on with this crap again. See, they don't accept that. That's where the definition came from. It came from the courts. Look, let's look at this. So the problem is this. I'm gonna admit that there is an issue with the word drive, but not driver. It's the word drive, because drive, there's a lack of a better term for operating an automobile. Okay, all right, to impel motion and quicken. Okay, but driver is one employed in conducting or operating a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horses, mules, or other animals, or a bicycle, tricycle, though not a streetcar, railroad. A person actually doing driving, whether employed by owner to drive or driving his own vehicle, right? It's a job. Driver's a job, right? Like all these jobs that go into public capacity need licenses. Driver, right? Public roads, right? Doctor, need a license. Lawyer, need a license, right? Because that's all public capacity, right? The driver is one employed in conducting or operating a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle. It's a job. That's all it is. And that came from Wallace v. Woods, right? 340 MO 452. Okay. I'm reading that for all the people who are not on YouTube. This is why I want to do it on YouTube, so everyone can see it, right? Look up employed from that dictionary. Okay, let's look it up. Employed. Well, I went past it. Employed. Employed. This signifies both the act of doing a thing and being under contract or orders to do it. To give employment to. To have employment. Okay. I don't think your plan worked out. It's the same dictionary. I didn't change dictionaries. Everyone on YouTube can confirm that. I didn't change dictionaries. Employed. To give employment to. To have employment. Being under contract or orders to do it. That's what it means. So, yeah, in some states they call it operator's license. The operator's the same thing, right? So, operator license, right? Because that's a public capacity job as well. But your definition, I think your plan backfired on you on that one, because employed is about having a job, right? Sorry. Employ. Okay, employ, we'll do employ too from Black Law's 4th edition. To engage in one's service, to use as an agent or substitute in transacting business. Business. To commission and entrust with the management of one's affairs. I'll tell you what, Sobsit Buster, I'll tell you what, here's what we can do. Well, I'll do this for you. PM me, send me your email. I'm going to email you a copy of all the law dictionaries I have, all of them. I have like 15 of them. I'll send every single one of them to you. He says I'm lying. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Here, look at this. What a fucking joker. He says I'm lying. This is the patheticness that we're at now. I have to actually pull this up and show him. To engage in one's service, to use as an agent or substitute in transacting business, to commission and entrust with the management of one's affairs. I'm lying. Employed. This signifies both the act of doing a thing and being under contract or orders to do it, to give employment to. Now, watch. I'm going to scroll back here a little bit, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up. See, I'm just scrolling up on here. I'm going to go back up to Drive. You see, it's the same document. Okay? This fucking guy. Oh, it's not the same document. That's why I said to come onto YouTube. Right? Driver. Where is it? Driver. One employed in conducting or operating a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horse, mule, or other animal, bicycle, tricycle, motor car, though not a street railroad. See? One employed. It's the same document. It's the same one. Come on, man. Work with me here. I'm not going to lie and mislead you.
He doesn't
Right.
comprehend.
He doesn't want to. He wants to be right. And the thing is, look, I don't care what the truth turns out to be. Okay? But I'm not going to lie to people and tell them what's not true to make them feel better. Okay? Then now he's going to say, well, that's your narrative. Dude, you tried to use the law dictionary against me and it backfired on you. And now you're all butthurt about it. Come on, man. That's it. He's just butthurt because he was like, whoa, look up employed. I did. And then you tried to lie and say that I used a different dictionary, which I didn't. Because I'm being honest. I'm being honest with people. I'm just telling you what's written in there, right? The fiction of law doctrine, right, dictates that the courts cannot allow these presumptions to be rebutted. It's a fiction of law doctrine. That's it. It's fiction of law. This is how they're utilizing all this stuff against the people. Fiction of law. Let's go. Fiction. This point probably doesn't have a good definition of fiction of law. I think it's a little lacking. Fiction of law. Something known to be false is assumed to be true. And that's what he's operating off of. He's operating off fictional law. But he doesn't realize, he's just assuming it is true. So he's actually entrapped by the fiction of law doctrine. See, that's the thing. And most people don't know this. This is stuff that people do not know. All right. This is why the fiction of law doctrine, if you can utilize it, okay, fiction, an assumption or supposition of law that something which is or may be false is true. And this is what he's showing on his channel. What he's showing is the fiction of law in operation, right? They're asserting that it's true that you need a license, right, to travel in your car on the road, right? They're asserting that it's true that the car must be registered and that it's true that the car must be insured, right? If you go and rebut that presumption, okay, the courts have a conniption about it. Why? because they have to uphold this fiction of law doctrine. Okay? They have to. Right? The judges are bound by it. The prosecutors, they make money off of it. See, the state judges are under the executive branch because they're regulated by the Secretary of State. Okay? Because they're regulated by the Secretary of State, they have to do what the Secretary of State tells them to do. So they do not have discretion. Okay? I think you guys all know Matt Crusell, right? He's on TikTok here, right? I follow him on TikTok. He's been putting out a lot of great videos lately, great content. He proved, because I've been seeing it for years. People are like, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. And I'm like, it's definitely true. And then as soon as it happened to him, he got the recording of it. And he goes, Joe, you're totally fucking right. And he sent me the recording. And I said, can I upload this to Rumble? And he says, go ahead. So I uploaded it onto Rumble. And it shows you the judge admitted that they don't have discretion because they have to follow orders from their seniors, their principals, right? They're just agents. And again, this is the disconnect, Sovcit. Okay, I'm going to call you Sovereign Citizen. So Sovereign Citizen, see, here's the thing. Your disconnect is the fact that he was rebutting the presumption that they have to assert as true. And they can't allow the fiction of law to be exposed as a fiction. That's part of the fiction of law. Okay? And because of that, that's why he lost in court and he's doing the appeals, right? It doesn't matter. The thing is that the judges even admitted to him that they were doing something wrong, but they couldn't go against their orders. They were ordered to rule against him no matter what. It's not a court case anymore. It's an administrative tribunal where they just said, no, you are guilty, that you lose, you lose, you lose. They had no discretion. All right. Matt Crusell. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a good video of his. I'm gonna stitch it to recommend people to watch his video, and you can find it from there. But he is putting out some really good content. He put some good stuff together, questions for cops and stuff like that. Definitely check his stuff out. They did say that. It's on video. I have it on Rumble. It's up for everyone to watch. So here's the thing. See, you make these assertions, sovereign citizen, right? Sovereign citizen makes these assertions that aren't true. Like he just said that I wasn't using the same dictionary, right? Now he makes the assertion that the judge never said that to him when I literally have the video clip, right, on Rumble, which I'm going to pull up right now and he can't hear it because it's going to be on here. But this is the stupidity of these people. This is the problem, is that they're just going to say you're wrong. You're wrong. No. But what is he talking about? He's talking out of his ass. I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm not. My interest. Look, I've gone back. I've made videos long time ago. Okay. And then later on found out I was wrong. And I said, hey, I'm wrong. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. That's wrong. Don't do that. Don't follow that. That was bad instruction. I'll leave some of those videos up because I want people, with a K, K-R. Crusell, no C, it's S's. I think. But, Hambone, come on. Court case being dropped is as good as a not guilty charge, right? We find you not guilty. It's the same. It's just as good. Like I said before, I said a win is a win no matter how you win. Doesn't matter how you win. You win, right? I'm not. All right, let's go to, where is it? All right, let's back a little more. Fiction of law. Choosing, reason, goodbye. Back a little more. Come on. Live, this. Yeah, it's over here somewhere. We're getting close. Oh, judge admits they have no discretion. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reshare this with the sound on so everyone on YouTube can hear this. All right. Optimize for video sharing. All right.
With you, but That's police officers that I do know.
Secretary of State disagrees with you, but
That's by
you can take
contract
that
law.
up. You really ought to file a lawsuit, Mr. Crucell, against the
I'm in the process
Secretary
of doing
State.
so.
Because they're the ones that are really dictating to us that we have to enforce these things. You know, that
By
it is the
contract.
Secretary of State. They're big brother in every sense of the imagination. So really, your complaint's not really with us. We're all peons in the cog wheels of the system.
Yes, but again, like I said, the prosecution would have to prove on the record that they had any of these jurisdictions over me, and then, like,
That was it for that. But that's all you need to see. 38 seconds, and they just told you everything. Where you have to talk to the Secretary of State. We just have to follow their rule. She just said it flat out. One, that means they're under the executive branch, making it an administrative court, not a judicial court. Okay. Number two, they don't get to decide. They don't have discretion. That is a complete violation of your right of due process, because judges are supposed to have discretion and they don't. Okay. This is, I know you heard, I know you heard nothing, but that's why I said YouTube. The whole presentation's on YouTube. So it is an administrative court if it's under the Secretary of State, because the Secretary of State's part of the executive branch. And the executive branch can have its own administrative courts, which is what they're doing. They can do whatever the fuck they want because the people don't know any better. It's real simple. If the people don't know any better, they're just going to follow whatever they're told, right? Most people are in a quasi hypnosis state, and they just kind of blindly follow orders from perceived authority. Okay. And when that happens, you get the downfall of liberty. And that is exactly what you're seeing in our country. Okay. And this is why, like, the left and the right arguments are so fucking stupid, because, like, it's been like the left has been fighting to ban guns all these years, and the right's been fighting to, for gun rights. And now the whole thing just inversed. It just flipped. Why? Because they did, because it suits their viewpoint for the current situation, right? But the thing is that because these people are in these quasi-hypnotic states, going through life in this quasi-hypnotic state, they just kind of follow things and they don't evaluate things. They're like, hey, look, as long as I can pay my bills, put food in my stomach, keep a roof over my head, and watch TV at night, I don't care what goes on. And that's the outlook they want, right? It's the cattle grazing. Okay, that's the downfall of liberty doesn't come from all the shit that you hear from the left and right fighting. The downfall of liberty is thinking that separation is valid. Okay, that whole thing is part of the entertainment, okay, provided to the American people today, right? The real thing is to stand on your rights, learn your rights. Now, you can always petition to your state Supreme Court to modify the court rules. Show them what's wrong with the court rules, why they're unfair, and why they violate due process. Okay, you can always do that. Okay, I've been making a whole document I'm going to send to the New Jersey Supreme Court about what's right and wrong about the court rules for New Jersey. So I've been working on that very heavily. Okay, but in my case, New Jersey Supreme Court does have a little commission going on where they're investigating the municipal courts, because they feel that these court cases might actually be a little unjust, because they feel like that the municipal courts are using their court system to generate revenue for the city. They suspect that happening. So I'm going to give them a full investigatory report. And then my findings, my facts and findings, and my recommendations. Okay, that's what I'm working on that. That's my own little project I'm doing on the side. I'm not expecting anyone to even help or get involved with that. That's just something I'm doing on the side, which I wasn't going to mention, but I've been working on that for quite some time now, because there's a lot to go through. All right. Anyway, that's the whole thing with that. But that's it right there. I mean, she's telling you she's under the Secretary of State, right? The judge is under the Secretary of State. That's executive. That's an administrative court. Okay, the states do it. The federal government does it, right? IRS is not supposed to have a court. It's supposed to send you to the judiciary, and they don't. They have their own little courts. That's all administrative, right? They're administrative law judges, what they call themselves, but they're really hearing officers is what they actually are. Okay, they do it in the state, they do it in federal, right? And most people never see a real judge because all that stuff is administrative, right? Think about it. The traffic stuff is regulatory. Regulatory is administrative. That's what they're using. And the thing is, like someone like Sovereign Citizen over here, he doesn't understand that stuff. He just goes on YouTube, searches all this stuff, and then shares the stuff and gets a good laugh, right? He gets a good laugh at the people who are standing for their rights. And I'll tell you, maybe people are doing stupid shit in the courtroom, absolutely, but does that justify laughing at them because they want to stand on their rights? Yeehaw! They want to stand on their rights? No, I think that's wrong. Laughing at somebody who's trying their best to stand on their rights is kind of messed up. It's like laughing at, George Washington when he led the Revolutionary War. Saying, what a jackass, right? Well, you didn't want to be those British soldiers on Christmas night then, did you? You wouldn't want to be those guys. That's like one of the most badass, most American things you could do. Yeah, so it's Christmas. Let's go. We're going to go get these British soldiers right now in the middle of the night. We're going to cross the river, the Delaware River, on Christmas night in the freezing temperatures, and we're going to go kick these motherfuckers' asses. That is the American way right there, if you ask me. All right. With that, I'm going to peace out because I actually got to run. I got stuff I got to do. But, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate everything. And that was a weird thing. I ended the TikTok one. But anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with me on YouTube here and on Zoom, all you people. But here, let me do one more thing. I don't know if I shared we got the links here, but I'm going to share. This is the Liberty Foundation. This is where I'm showing all the other stuff here.
I shared the Liberty Foundation in TikTok. I didn't share it in YouTube.
All right. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. That 2.5 course though, because remember I was saying to you, I said, we got to figure something out for you.
Yep. I think that's going to be the key.
Yeah. So what'd you think of it?
I think it's wonderful. I've got my notes and I've got how long each video was, and then I got to go back and answer all the questions, and I'm making a workbook out of all of it because I want it to be in this brain, because I know they're going to come after me sooner or later because of my IMF OPM payroll.
Yeah. So that course, and I designed that course because there's a few people I've talked to that technically can't. They have situations in life that prevent them from actually doing the ROE for various reasons, but which doesn't generally apply to everybody. But because of that, that's why I developed that course. Like, you specifically have a situation. There's a few other people I know personally that have a similar situation, so I made that course just for that purpose. All right. But yeah, I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Everyone on YouTube, thanks for hanging out. Sorry for the rage moment with Sovsit Buster over here, but man, that guy can really piss me off, He really gets me sometimes, and I'm like, ah. But you guys can see his disconnect and his feeble attempts at gaslighting. This is all they got. This is the only thing they have. They don't really have it. He doesn't know law. These guys don't know law. They don't know any of this stuff. Really, reality. TC, I'm gonna call you TC. Yo.
Play an outro with the guitar, bro. Just before you end.
Okay, let's see.
I don't want to interrupt what you was about to say, but yeah.
I forgot how to play it. All right, guys. That's
Thank you,
going to be it for
Joe.
me today. Guys, have a great weekend.
Have a great strong end.
Real quick, anyone know the name of that song?
Nope, I sure didn't recognize it.
Okay.
Is it an original of yours?
No, I'll play an original one day, though. Yeah, the
you, Joe.
Desperado song. Yeah, I can do that stuff too. Yeah. No, that was "To Live Is to Die" by Metallica. It's an instrumental on the "Injustice for All" album. It was actually written by the bass player who passed away, Cliff Burton. He wrote that whole song. All right, but that's it for me. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.